You see this? This is one of the cards for the Season 5 finale of Miraculous Ladybug. I want you all to take a good, long look at it and tell me what's wrong with it. Write your answer in the comments. I'll wait. Did you write it down? Great! We'll check your answer later on in the lesson. Hello everyone, my name's Aloubell, and just when I thought I was done critiquing Miraculous Ladybug, it pulls me right back in. I was fairly content just having my AU Bonds Beyond Fate be my only Miraculous content. Go check that out, by the way. And I was excited to talk about other things. And yes, I do talk about other things, considering this is not a Miraculous Ladybug channel. But here I am, risen from the ashes of my miraculous retirement to talk about something that bugs me.
But Aloe...
That doesn't count. That is a design critique and not necessarily a writing and storytelling critique, which is primarily what I do for the show.
Regardless, it's still a review of the canon show, and thus, you were driven out of retirement before the current video.
Ugh, do you always have to be so specific?
Yes.
Anyway, Season 5 has come to an end. Bust out the non-alcoholic apple cider and order that pizza because the age of Gabriel Agrest / Hawkmoth is over. But how was it handled? Not great. I'm just gonna say it right now, it wasn't great. That isn't to say that there was nothing good that happened, but I'm here to more express some issues that I feel need to be addressed. But before I get to it, if you're enjoying this video, then show me your victorious side by hitting the like button and subscribe for more reviews, rants, and rewrites. Follow me on my socials in the description, and be sure to join our community Discord, the Bell Tower, link also in the description. If you're still watching at this point, put the clapperboard emoji in the comments. Thank you! Now, unlike with what I did for the premiere episodes of this season, I won't go through the episodes scene by scene. I literally just have some notes I want to address, and then we can be on our way. Point number 1, Chloe and Gabriel. So, let me get this straight. Gabriel Agrest, who has done a ton of terrible things wrong and nearly killed, if not absolutely killed some people, who has treated his son so horribly, gets to be depicted as sympathetic, redeemed in universe, and praised in canon. We'll talk about that later. But the 14-year-old petty bully Chloe Bourgeois, who was set up to fail due to her upbringing and who showed legitimate hints of changing as a person, is supposed to be the worst of the worst and has no chance at redemption? Really? Really? Like, don't get me wrong. As a Christian, I'm a 100% supporter of forgiveness, whether someone deserves it or not. But in the context of a story, I need it to make sense and be satisfying. Again, I'm all for redemption arcs. It's my favorite trope, and I'm not opposed to Gabriel getting one, but something's not right here. For one, if Astruc's intention was to redeem and reform Gabriel, I don't think he was successful. The villain got what he wanted and potentially destroyed the world. We'll discuss that later. Gabriel essentially went, "Yeah, I'm sorry about every bad thing I did, but please understand that I did it for a really, really sweet reason. It was out of love. Do I regret what I did? Doesn't matter now." I mean, it's cool that he brought back Emily and Natalie somehow, so that Adrien has someone to take care of and raise him, but I don't know. I wouldn't say this redeems him. It's like, he acknowledged what he did wrong, I guess, and tried to make it right, I suppose, but in doing that, he got what he wanted as a villain. So, you see how weird this is? What message are we trying to teach here? If Gabriel was really sorry, he wouldn't go through with the wish, and he would acknowledge all the bad he's done and actually show us that he's changed. Maybe he could make use of whatever time he has left and attempt to build back the bridge that was burning between him and Adrien. Adrien, who still knows nothing, by the way. And yes, we will talk about that. Maybe a cure for him could be found via the Ladybug Miraculous. Maybe not. But we had options. Actions speak louder than words when it comes to redemption stories, and Mr. Agrest died before he could complete any redemption arc we're trying to obtain. Regardless of all of that, the show is framing Gabriel as sympathetic and redeemable, whereas Chloe is apparently the incarnation of evil itself. But not really. Chloe didn't do anything nearly as bad as Gabriel. She's a bully, and that is awful, but even if you ignore her change in character for the better that was absolutely happening earlier on in the show despite what anyone says, and even if you ignore how the writers both made her worse and much more sadistic, selfish, and evil after Miracle Queen, as well as retroactively by saying she traumatized Marinette in the past, which is bad writing to bring that up out of nowhere after years of not bringing it up, even if you ignore all of that, the fact of the matter is that she's a teenage girl who is still learning how life works and is still developing mentally, emotionally, and intellectually. She still has room to learn and grow.
But Aloe, Chloe doesn't want to change because she has everything she wants. Besides, some people just don't change.
Okay, 1, pretty sure she lost quite a bit by the end of season 5. The respect of her father, the support of her sister, the respect and support of her teacher, the support of her best friend / servant Sabrina. No one in her class and a good chunk of Paris doesn't like her, and she's essentially emotionally alone by the end. Oh yeah, she's really living the good life. Yes, I know consequences and all that, but still, we're framing her like she's the worst person that ever existed. What's worse is that Lila doesn't have it nearly as bad as Chloe. Now, I'm sure Lila has what's coming to her, but it's still messed up. And 2, we've seen that Chloe has the capacity to change and be better. Even if not now, then maybe later. Like I said, she's still learning and may finally come to regret her actions. So for Astruc or anyone to say that a broken 14-year-old has no chance whatsoever to be redeemed just makes me sad and frustrated. Gabriel good, while Chloe bad? The math just doesn't add up. Point number 2. The wish is weird. When Gabriel made his wish, did everyone die and get replaced by copies because of the wish? If so, that's dark. It also means the characters the audience has come to know are just gone. These aren't the old characters. I could be remembering the rules incorrectly, but didn't the show say at some point that when a wish is made with the unified Ladybug and Black Cat Miraculous, that the current reality gets destroyed and a new one gets made when the wish is fulfilled? Or was it retcon to be equivalent exchange, a life for a life? Or is it both at the same time? If it's the second option, then I feel that the stakes wouldn't be nearly as high. Don't get me wrong, it's still bad, but not world-ending like we were led to believe. However, I do think he did create a new reality, in which case, yes, dark. Also, what were the parameters of the wish? The fact that we didn't hear Gabe verbally say the wish, it's hard to know what he wished for exactly. He didn't just wish for Emily to come back because Natalie came back too. How did he bring back 2 people when it's supposed to be equivalent exchange? But now he's the local hero who sacrificed himself. Was that part of the wish that people see him favorably? Because who decided that he saved everyone? How are they saying he died? Did he undo every problem he caused? I don't think so, because all of the characters seem to still have knowledge of things that happened, as well as their character and relationship developments in play, so what's up with the wish? Does Natalie remember dying? Does she remember that she was a bad guy? Also, where do people think Emily has been? Assuming nothing else changed except for Gabriel being gone and Emily being here, what does the public think? Heck, what's going on in Emily's mind? What does she think happened to her? What does Adrien think? Oh, and speaking of Adrien, point number 3, Adrien was wasted. Some of you may not be aware of this, but the title of the show is Miraculous, Tales of Ladybug and Cat Noir. Oh, you already knew that? How curious, considering the writers forgot. Riddle me this, Batman. How do you have one of your supposed main characters have most of the conflict and plot centered around him and not feature him in your finale? Alright class, it's time to check those answers on that quiz from earlier. What's wrong with this picture? Cat Noir isn't there! The show is literally more about him than Marinette, and yet he's out of commission for too much of this finale. Even if you wanted to go with the he was kidnapped and kept isolated storyline, you could have still worked with that and had him actively involved in helping out. If this is Hawkmoth / Monarch / Hurrah anyway, let's just get all the reveals out of the way. Or at the very least, Cat Noir's. Have him transform and rescue himself and Kagami. Have Gabriel see this, and we can get some satisfying plot progression. Have Cat Noir be active along with Ladybug in Monarch's downfall, or victory with his wish fulfillment. Just have him involved. He needed to be there in that final moment, but he wasn't. In the end, Adrien still doesn't know the truth about his dad, or himself as a Sentimonster. Marinette gets to know though, because of course she does. Hey guys, it's Aloe in the editing process. I just realized how reckless it is to not tell Adrien that he's a Sentimonster. Since he doesn't know the importance of the rings with the amok in them, he could carelessly lose or give away the rings due to getting bored of them or something. He doesn't understand how valuable they are and how, if someone finds out about what he is, can control him, or worse, destroy him. Under the correct circumstances, I mean. He can't properly defend himself all because Marinette, Kagami, Felix, Amelie, or Emily won't tell him. It's kind of messed up, really. And I get that we want to protect his feelings and all. Well, Marinette wants to protect his feelings. I'm not sure what's stopping Kagami and Felix, two of the most intelligent and logical characters. Also, why do so many people get to know Ladybug's identity as Marinette and Cat Noir gets just one person? Alia, Kagami, Felix, Fu when he was Guardian, Gabriel, and Luca all get to know, whereas only Luca knows about Cat Noir. Adrien just feels so isolated, considering he has to be so secretive and can't completely talk about everything on his mind or fully confide in someone. He feels like he's just a part of Team Marinette, just like the rest of the cast, and it isn't right. Whereas Marinette gets to feel like a whole character who is fully supported in some way or another. Either Adrien is much better at keeping his secret identity a secret, or Marinette gets special treatment. And I think we all know what the correct answer is. The sad thing is that Adrien had a chance to have that support in Luca, but of course, Adrien is not allowed to have nice things because the only person he could talk about his secret with got shipped off to some other land. The wasted potential and poor handling of Adrien frustrates me, along with so many other aspects of this show. Whatever. I just wanted to point that out. Back to the video. You know what? I'm waiting for Adrien to know the whole truth and be traumatized, as well as this whole mess to cause tension between him and Marinette / Ladybug for keeping it a secret. In fact, what's keeping Ladybug from telling Cat Noir all of this? She doesn't know he's Adrien, so doesn't he deserve to be in the loop? Then again, when is he ever? Cat Blanc still wasn't explained to him. Sure, he got to experience his own version of Cat Blanc as a nightmare, but he doesn't know of the actual timeline where he actually killed so many people and how it actually traumatized his partner and girlfriend. So I don't think I can rely on Ladybug to tell him anything. I heard a rumor that Adriennette might break up in season 6. It could be false, it could be nothing, it could just be the internet making stuff up and I just happen to see it and think that it could be real. But if it is true, I want this to be the reason. In fact, what if this is such a huge breach of trust that they realize that they aren't a good fit after all? Imagine that. All these years of build-up just to say that they weren't Endgame. Oh, who am I kidding? Of course they're Endgame. The characters keep telling us how much they were made for each other, botching Lucanette and Adragami almost immediately in the process, and I don't see the writers backtracking on that. In any case, I want to see some consequences. Point number 4, Lila and the Future. I've never talked about Lila before. That's mainly because I never really cared about her, and I still don't really, but she's actually important now, so I might as well. Firstly, the show should have ended. After 5 seasons, our villain is dealt with. Forget Lila or whatever her real name is. She's kind of a weird character because why is she there? She had no beef with Ladybug until she was humiliated. Please don't let that be the only reason. I'd rather there be no reason than have that be the reason. It's such a downgrade from the already disappointing villain Gabriel was. I'm gonna give the writers the benefit of the doubt and say that they have a more legitimate backstory for her. It almost doesn't matter what the backstory will be because of how poorly this show is constructed, such as giving Mari's traumatic backstory way too far into the show's run for it to sincerely mean anything, but at least it'll be something. In any case, Lila has the butterfly Miraculous now. Big whoop. And actually, let's acknowledge for a sec Ladybug's inability to get the Miraculous that's been causing everyone the most grief when she had the chance. But it would be funny if Lila, after getting said Miraculous, the writers did a joke where Bunnix or Pegasus comes in and takes it from her once she has it and is like, "Don't even think about it," and then just disappears with it, followed by Lila shouting, "No!" all Darth Vader-like. It would be a fitting end for her, in my opinion. Side note, this short-haired version of Lila is the prettiest to me. That's it, that's the entire point, I just wanted to say that. Anyway, if it's correct to assume that Lila, or whoever surprised her at the end, is the new baddie, combined with the knowledge that the heroes will be fighting the Butterfly Miraculous user even as adults, then what's the ending to this story? Does it ever end? There's literally no reason for it to keep going. With Gabriel's death and Emily's resurrection and Adrianette being canon, it should end. Lila is quite literally the only loose end. That and Adrien not knowing he's a Centimonster, which could have been dealt with earlier, but whatever. Lila is primarily the reason why the show still has a leg to run on, and the whole thing is just frustrating. Where is this show going? I know that for many showrunners and writers, it's their job to do what it takes to keep the story going on for a very long time. From a money standpoint, I get it. But from a storytelling and integrity standpoint, it's way more respectful to properly and satisfactorily end a story in its prime, rather than artificially keeping it alive regardless of if it's quality or not, just because you can. This is when mistakes start to happen and quality goes down. If you legitimately have more story to tell, then fine, but that's often not the case and is only continuing for profit. I don't mind the idea that Miraculous finished its first arc with Gabriel as the villain and is moving on to a different arc. Many magical girl shows and comics do that. But what I do have a problem with is how long it took for this arc to complete. It took 8 years, 5 seasons to get through a plot that only needed a couple of seasons to tell. The copious amounts of filler and artificially extending a love square and reveal plot that could have been dealt with a long time ago suggests one of two things. One, that the show was extended in such a way because of money, so that we can milk this franchise as much as we can by making plot progression painfully slow in the process. Or two, that things weren't planned out all the way and the writers were stalling for time. It is one or both of these reasons. If things were properly planned out, things like Marinette's trauma and Zoe existing would have been brought up or hinted at during earlier, more appropriate times in the series' run. If you don't have a plan for your story, or at least a very general outline, then continuity and other things fall apart. The very irregular premieres of episodes and how there are weeks, if not months of time between them, is a testament to how things are done in the last minute. It's only when an episode is done that it is released to the public. Why not just finish the whole season and release it weekly like almost literally every other show does? If they are working on future seasons at the same time that the current season is airing, then why not just wait the extra time for the whole season to be complete before showing everyone? The only reason I can think of is that they are in the process of working on the show at the same time that it's being released. The quality of the story gets dragged through the mud because of the questionable approach to the show, both from a writing standpoint and a production standpoint. Honestly, this show is such a fascinating anomaly, But more than anything, it's frustrating. Miraculous's writing has the feel of someone updating a Wattpad story chapter by chapter and only updating once every few weeks, if not months. The writers implement a cool new idea despite not referencing past events to see if it makes sense or not. Except, unlike a Wattpad story, in Miraculous Ladybug, you can't go back and edit in the new changes so that it would appear as if they were always part of the story. In Miraculous, what's done is done, and we have to live with the wonkiness. I'm not saying that a story can't be good if it isn't fully planned ahead of time. I think it's possible to do the chapter-by-chapter updates and think of the story as it goes along and still have it be good. It just requires super good record-keeping of lore and events that you've established, which Miraculous hasn't completely done. I also don't think it's 100% necessary to plan out a story completely. Even with the stories I write, I plan the general outline and the bigger story beats, but I don't fill in the details until I start writing. You have more freedom when you do things this way, and this allows the story to evolve organically. Some things in Miraculous do not feel organic or as fluid as I'd like. Having said all that, Miraculous Ladybug isn't completely unplanned. That would be irresponsible, and I don't think a network would let showrunners make a show without the confidence of where the story was going. Or maybe they would. I don't know. In any case, some things were definitely thought out, such as the overall lore, the endgame couple, some of the Miraculous holders. I could believe that Mari was always planned to be Guardian, and seeing as how future seasons were announced, I'd like to think they have a plan for it and aren't just like, let's tell everyone we have more seasons planned, but not think about what will happen in those seasons until later. Evil laugh. At least I hope that's not how it is. Miraculous isn't like SpongeBob, where each episode is self-contained. I mean, yes, it does have some self-contained episodes, but you know what I mean. Miraculous has a plot where events of episodes are supposed to affect events in other episodes, so they do require a bit of planning. Okay, I think I've rambled on about this enough. I've made my points, I think. What do you think about the finale? Comment below and let's get...
Hey, Aloe!
Did you just interrupt my call to action?
You didn't talk about Bug Noir.
You interrupted my call to action.
I'm sorry.
It's fine. Bug Noir isn't as insulting to the eyes as Pegabug or Pennybug, but I'm not a fan of the neon green with the red. Yes, I know, red and green are contrasting colors, and red and green are also Christmas colors, but putting red with a neon, slime-colored green, I am not on board with. The eyes are neat, kind of weird, but neat. The hair is a slight mess because I'm not a fan of the two shorter braids and the longer braid. It just looks awkward, and I don't like how the red hair tie works. The red hair ties work for regular Ladybug because they represent antennae. But what do they represent here? They stick out very awkwardly, and I'm not a fan. And bugs don't usually have 4 antennae, so it's especially weird. I understand what the designers were going for with this. They were trying to combine the looks of Ladybug and Lady Noir. Considering this is the unification of the two most powerful Miraculous, and considering how hyped up these powers were when together, I was expecting something more original and ethereal, like what happened when Plague and Tiki fused. But instead, we got this. And actually, the more I look at it, the more I realize the outfit is not that bad. The red and neon green still isn't my favorite, but it's growing on me a bit, and it's not like the green was used too much or anything. I think the balance of it is fine. The hair still bothers me though. More than anything, I'm just disappointed by this. Now, maybe I'm just spoiled because of the Magical Girl series I've seen and seeing the ultimate forms of these magical girls, so there could be a chance I'm just spoiled with that. But at the same time, I don't think it's too much to ask to have this thing that's been hyped up be big and cool and flashy looking. Don't get me wrong, it's still better than OG Ladybug. Pretty much every other outfit is, and the outfit itself is nice, Design-wise, I mean, and ignoring the colors. Get different colors for the outfit and it would really look cool. And before anyone gets on me about the colors, yes, I know that red, black, and neon green are the colors of the Ladybug and Black Cat Miraculous combined, and thus those colors need to be represented somehow in this outfit. But I'm purely speaking that outside of this context, this outfit with a different color scheme would be cool. That's all. So, are we good now?
Yep. Thank you.
Alright, so as I was saying, comment below and let's get this conversation started. And remember, I'm the artistic Aloubell, and if you enjoyed this video, make sure to like it and subscribe for more reviews, rants, and rewrites. But as for now, that's all there is. There isn't any more.